Howdy and welcome back. It's kind of cold and windy outside, so I thought I would do another installment of my knife collection. I think I'll do fixed blades today. Well, I'm going to do that because I've got it laid out on the table. And then I'll save the multi-tools for another time. So I don't have as many fixed blades. I mean, I haven't really got into the pocket fixed blade genre yet. I think they're really cool. I think they're useful. I really would like to, but there's just so many folding knives I like, and I can't sometimes justify the price for some of those pocket fixed blades. But it's something I would like to get into. But I'll show you what I do have, mostly bigger knives. And I'm not sure if I even gathered all of them up because I keep them in packs and in vehicles and in tackle boxes and campers. And so I have them spread out all over and I sometimes don't know if I've even grabbed all of them. But so first I kind of wanted to talk about just how my knife tastes have evolved. Growing up as a kid in the 80s, I thought what you had to have to be cool was like a Rambo knife. That was all the rage, the big tactical knives with the saw back, with the unscrew handle, with the compass and everything in it. And I think I've told my kids that, I wanted a Rambo knife so bad. In fact, I was part of like a selling club where you could sell stuff like gift paper and wrapping paper. Maybe some of you other guys did that. And you would get prizes, like I got a rubber raft or some walkie-talkies or stuff like that. But anyway, so my son works at a thrift store and he found me not too long ago a big Rambo knife because he knew that I always wanted one when I was a kid but never got one. I tried to sell enough stuff to get one, but I couldn't. I would never probably buy something like this, but it is kind of fun just to hold in your hand and think, man, I wish I was a Rambo guy. Makes you feel tough, like you could survive anything. Now this is stainless steel made in Taiwan. It's got the compass on the back. The sheath is pretty beat up, but it does have a small sharpening stone on it. And the handle unscrews so you can put all your survival gear in it. It's really something. There's some matches in there. Looks like some wire. I really haven't even gotten this out, to be honest with you. So that's kind of what I thought was a cool knife when I was a kid. And even before I really got into knives, I kind of thought, big, tough, cool looking knives. Ergonomics and function weren't as big of a deal until I got into EDC a few years ago. So some of these knives I've had for a little while and some I've gotten more recently just because but most of them I haven't bought new. A lot of these I've gotten used or secondhand. I don't purposely go out and buy a lot of new fixed blades, but when I come across one that I like, I'll buy it. Everybody I think needs some beater fixed blades that they can really use, and it's hard to beat Mora. Mora knives, the Mora Companion. This one's got a high carbon steel blade and a Scandi grind. They're really cheap and affordable, made in Sweden. This one's carbon steel, and I've kind of abused this one. It's lived in my car or even in my tackle box sometimes. I'll just take it when I go out camping. I don't mind this plastic clip. Actually, it clips onto a belt or a pack pretty nice. The other Mora I have is the 746, and this one's actually stainless. And it has kind of a rubberized handle here. Feels pretty comfortable. The blade is pretty similar to the Companion, other than as far as geometry, but it's stainless steel instead of high carbon steel. I don't like the belt clip on this sheath as much. It's kind of narrow and slim. But again, those are just good beater knives to throw in your car. So when I needed a hunting set a few years ago. My kids were getting a little bit older and we were getting into hunting a little bit more and we were going out and doing some hunting. So I needed a set of hunting knives, or I wanted a set. And so I went down to the local store and they didn't have a big selection and I didn't have time to wait for something to get shipped to me. But I bought this little Gerber set. I don't even know what the names of these are. I think I bought it at Cal Ranch, but I might have got it at just a Walmart. We don't have the most shopping options in our town. We don't have a Sportsman's or anything like that. This is actually, as far as a rubberized handle, it feels really good. The blade, it's easy to get an edge on, nice and sharp. You know, when I've been working on a deer or something like that, it does get doled out pretty quick. This smaller blade I really like. In fact, I prefer it a lot. It's kind of like a bird and trout knife. And I really like this one. I've used it on a lot of ducks and geese, and it really does the job quite well. And they're not terribly expensive, so not something you don't have to worry about losing or getting damaged or anything. Speaking of bird and trout knives, I picked up this Gerber knife at a estate sale for $5. I think they wanted $8 for it, and I was able to talk them down. It says Trout and Bird, made in Portland, Oregon, USA, stamped on the sheath. And it's a real thin, slicey little knife. And it has this spoon thing in the handle. It has an armor hide handle. It says Gerber, Trout and Bird on the handle there. It has this little scoop thing for fish to clean out the blood vein on the back of the fish. So that's pretty handy. It's not real sturdy. I mean, it's got some flex to it, which you would want for a fillet knife. And the tip is sharpened on both sides. So it's good for piercing. This is a handy little knife. It works really good also on ducks or fish. That's what it's designed for. So that was a good find. And this, I thought the handle was cast iron at first, but it's I think just some kind of a stainless steel with this armor hide handle on it. I believe that's a discontinued model. This other one, I did a video on it a long time ago, but this was my grandfather's knife. And so after my grandma passed away and they were cleaning out the house, I found this one in a garage. And I had remembered seeing this, and I had remembered him having this. But it had some neglect. It had been sitting in this leather sheath in the garage and had all developed quite a bit of rust, and the handle was loose. And so I had a lot of dirt and grime on it. I cleaned it up, polished the handle up, left a lot of the patina on there. But my dad says Grandpa used this for deer hunting and things like that. I don't know exactly what it is. It does say on the sheath, made in Germany. So I think it's just one of those old high carbon steel German hunting knives. Anyways, I don't know how fancy it is, but it's sentimental at this point. Some other kind of budget knives I have. I've got a few that I'll save towards the end here, but a few years ago I bought this Elk Ridge knife. They got a whole shipment of them in here at the hardware store, and I just particularly like the dark wood on this one. With the bone up there at the top, or the jigged bone. It just had kind of a pinkish hue to it, and I really liked it. I liked the shape of the knife. It's got a big belly with a drop point there, and it wasn't too bad. It was a pretty affordable price. Elk Ridge is not high quality, as you know. But it's a good looking knife and in a pretty good package. I picked up a few other Elk Ridge knives not that long ago, just some smaller ones. This one happened to be at a discount store, and I think I got it for $5 or $6. I know it was less than $10. It's a little bit thick if you were going to try to pocket carry this. But it is a nice small little knife with a decent blade. It says stainless steel China, so it's probably 440, something like that. They're not very expensive even when you don't catch them on sale. And it has just a basic nylon sheath, so nothing fancy. But for the price, I thought it was a cool little find. And then I also picked up at the same time this elk ridge one has an elk cut out in the blade. And I like these handles on there. They look kind of like an olive wood or a light colored wood. And it reminds me of an old timer sharp finger, which I used to have one of those, and I let it go one day when I was thinning out my ranks at a yard sale. I sold that sharp finger, but this elk ridge kind of reminded me of it. I do have, of course, these little CRKT minimalists. They're just great knives. It's hard to argue with the handle ergonomics on these. They just feel so good in the hand. 3-finger grip, but it's nice and firm. I like the Bowie blade on this one. And I've tried carrying it, scout carry, but lately I took the clip off and just put it in my pocket is how I've been carrying it when I do carry it. And I have another minimalist. This one's a cleaver style. And this one I bought at a discount store. So it's got some branding on it. It says Hawks, and then it says Animal Health International on that side. But it's got a blacked out blade and a black handle, and just as comfortable as the other one. Not very often I need a little cleaver, but like you said, you can wear them as a neck knife. This one I really like. I like the shape of this one. I bought it for a project. I thought I was gonna make a leather sheath for it, and I just never have gotten around to that. I haven't found the right piece of leather that I wanted. It's made in Japan, 440 stainless. I like the whale engraved on it. And the handle feels really good quality. I think it's Durlin, black Durlin. But it just feels really nice and smooth. It's good rounded grip, but it's solid grip. And I'm excited one of these days I'll maybe make a sheath for that. I bought into the hype a year or so ago on those BPS knives. People were talking about them, especially with the war going on in Ukraine, because these were Ukrainian-made knives. And it's a great Scandinavian knife. It feels really solid. It's sturdy. The screwed together construction. I wish the screws were a little more flush, but it doesn't create a hot spot or anything. And the sheath is really good quality. It's nice and thick with the dangler on it. I love to wear this when I'm out camping, and actually when I pull it out, people are quite impressed with it. So for the price, it's not terribly expensive, and for what you're getting, I would say it's a good knife, a really good knife, an impressive knife, and the sheath is stamped BPS knives. So I believe they were making these and giving them to the Ukrainian army. And I actually like the idea of using more of a bushcraft type survival knife as a military knife, rather than something that's so tactical and it's just for fighting. I think this is more well-rounded, and you probably get a lot more use out of it. Here's one that I've had for quite a long time. Father-in-law gave it to me. It's a Frost Cutlery. Has a really cheap nylon sheath here. The handle doesn't look too bad. Frost Cutlery, I like how they do their handles, especially the ones with the green or the red. They're not the greatest quality of knives in the world, but they get the job done. And this one's very comfortable. And the way it has that swedge out on the tip there, you get a nice tip on it. It's a good drop point, good shape for most camp uses. So I would think this is a good camp knife, and I keep it in the camper or around when I'm going camping a lot, in case I need a knife to just grab. All right, we're getting down to the last few. Like I said, I don't have very many of these knives. So this one is the Swiss Tech, you know, that the line that they carry at Walmart. I didn't buy this particular one at Walmart. I think it was used and I got it at a discount store. But it looks brand new when I got it. You can see it's got a lot of use on it now. I've taken it on a number of camping trips. And it comes with a fire striker that's housed in the sheath there. I like how the sheath can twist around so you can carry it in different configurations. This is Os 8 steel with a micarta handle, and I showed in my folding knife video, I have the folding knife that goes along with this too, that has the red accent and the green micarta handle. And you know, I really have no complaints about this knife. It's a solid knife. It's maybe a little thick, so it's not going to be the most slicey, but for an outdoor type survival knife, it's great. The sheath is about what you'd expect for a $40 knife. Going a little bit more tactical, this is the Cold Steel Kobun. I think I'm saying that right. Really cool design, Tonto blade, Os 8A, made in Taiwan. I saw this design online, and I was just like, wow, I gotta get one of those. That looks like a cool little Japanese style knife, tactical boot knife. I think that's what it's designed for, is to put in a boot. I'd probably want a different clip on the sheath if I was going to carry it in a boot, but it certainly does the job. And from what I understand, this was the model of knife that was carried by the Special Forces when they took out Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. But it would be a great knife for that because it's lightweight, it's really slim. I don't love the handle. I mean, it's got a rubberized handle with plenty of texture on it. It's just not a very feeling handle. It's so thin that I feel like I'm not getting a good grip on it. But maybe that changes if you're wearing gloves or something. But I think it's a pretty cool knife, pretty cool tactical knife. K-bar. Everybody needs to have a K-bar. As you know, there are better quality knives out there, but not as many that are as iconic as the K-bar military fighting knife. This one doesn't want to come out of the sheath. This one happens to be a Tonto profile also. I like the acute tip on the Tonto. It's got a partially serrated blade, USA made. I bought this one from an auction, so I didn't buy it outright or new, but it is definitely a comfortable knife, a solid filling knife with a long blade. It feels stout. I've seen some stress tests and some abuse tests on these, and so I know it's not a super steel. It's not a super premium steel, but it does feel like it could take some damage, and it feels like you could use it in a self-defense situation and feel pretty safe with anything you wanted to do with that. And so I like to keep this one with my tactical gear. Two more. So this one is a Condor knife, and I believe this is the Jungle Bowie 2. Picked this guy up at a pawn shop. It's not a blade shape that I would generally go for. It's sharpened on both edges there, but it's a kind of a cool looking knife. And they happened to have a couple Condors at the shop when I was in there. It's full tang, nice wooden handle, decent fit and finish, coated blade, and really an interesting kind of shape. But you can get a solid grip on it. And it does feel like something you could use out in the jungle. I haven't used or carried this one a whole lot. It does have a nice leather sheath with the Condor logo on it. Last one is another Condor. This is their big primitive camp knife. I forgot what this one's called, the Pioneer or something like that. made in El Salvador. It has this hammered metal finish on it. And I do really like this one. This is a great camp knife. I like taking it out there, food prep, chopping. You know, it is a beefy knife. Look how thick that steel is there. And so this is really cool. It's kind of a mountain man style knife. And I quite like the looks of it. This would be something that I could see myself carrying. I did take this on a backpacking trip because I didn't want to bring a hatchet, and I thought I could use this in lieu of that. So that's it for my knives. Now it's joke time. So I was sitting in the other room the other night, and my wife was sitting in one room and I was in the other room, and my wife hollers to me, "Do you ever get a shooting pain across your chest? Like someone's got a voodoo doll of you and they're stabbing it?" And I was like, what kind of a question is that? I'm like, no. And she says, "Well, how about now?"